get a goal, it's just the beginning. You gotta sing when you're winning, everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. You gotta sing when you're winning. Get a goal, it's just the beginning. Sing, sing when you're winning, everywhere you go.
Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Sing When You're Winning, a Fantasy Football League oddity podcast featuring distant cousins of podcast royalty and a very, very special guest this week who we will reveal very shortly, unless you're watching this on YouTube, and then it's pretty obvious. Waiting in line for the podcast throne and struggling to play with an EFL football this week. Myself, Jamie, we've got Steve, we've got Chris, and we've got Lee. So everyone's going to introduce themselves, the name of the team, and this week, as it's one of the best footballing weekends of the year with the third round of the FA Cup, what's your favourite FA Cup third round giant killing act? Or it's either a game you've been to, it doesn't even have to be a club that you support, just a giant killing act that you particularly enjoyed. I know, Lee, you said you knew one, so should we kick off with you?
Yeah, no worries. My name is Lee Cooper, manager of the Angry Dragons. The one that sticks out to me, I've got quite a few friends who are Villa fans who listen to the podcast as well. So hello, Mark. And back in 2014, Villa got beat at home by Sheffield United. I think it was 2-1. So I'd have to say that one. And friend of the podcast, David Coote, was a referee in that one as well. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let's not go there with him. we'll try and stay controversy free for a few more minutes longer. Thank you, Lee. Anyone else want to go next?
I'm just in case somebody else says this one, I'm going straight in with 1992 Wrexham against Arsenal.
That was mine. But
yeah, because I'm done. After that, I'm done. But yeah, just Mickey Thomas. I had it in my head that it was that was the winner, but I'd forgotten. No, it was just the equaliser. But yeah, just an absolute belter, top corner. And I was watching it again today, and I was struck by how much Mickey Thomas reminded me of Keith Harris. It's quite remarkable, the similarity between him and Keith Harris of Orville fame. But yeah, that's my 1992, and also a bonus that they put the Arsenal out.
He seemed about 50 then, didn't he, Mickey Thomas? When
37, but he looked a good 10 years older than that.
They all seemed a lot older then. Yeah, I remember when Strachan was playing for Leeds, I thought, what an old guy he is, like 35. Why is he playing for us? And,
is that only with players who are under about 5'8"?
Maybe, yeah.
They just look older because maybe they, as old people get older, they kind of get smaller and smaller. Maybe that's it.
Are we going to do this cup thing every time there's a round, Jamie? Are we going to have to remember our best
doing the
fourth
third round?
No,
the third. There's something special about the third round, isn't there? Let's be honest. So
yeah,
we'll do it for this. I can guess what you're going to go for.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, definitely. But then I could also mention quite a lot of times when Leeds have been knocked out by Histon or Crawley or whoever we tend to get in the third round. We either get really small and lose, or somebody big like Arsenal lose. But I'll go with 2010 then, winning 1-0 at Manchester United when Leeds are on the knees in League One, trying to get back up the ladder, and to go there and win 1-0, fantastic. And they still sing songs about it now, which 15 years ago I think is a bit tin pot because everybody beats Man United nowadays anyway, don't they?
Apart from Liverpool, they don't beat Manchester United nowadays.
No, not this week, though.
Yeah, I knew you would go for that one. And seeing as how I can't go for Wrexham, I'm going to go for 1989 Sutton United beating Coventry City 2-1 as well. That was back in the day when the FA Cup was at its best, really, wasn't it? Where you'd get proper giant killing, which you don't really see so much anymore. I also love the although I wasn't alive then, Hereford United beating Newcastle United as well, just because it was always fun to see Newcastle United lose as well. So seeing that every time there's a third round, I'm sure we'll see that over the weekend as well. So yeah, they're our favourite FA Cup third round giant killing act. We're now going to introduce our special guest. we'll ask him what his favourite one is as well. But here's a bit of an intro that you might have heard before. But we're nothing but original on this
Don't
podcast.
do it.
I'm not going to. This week's special guest is described on Wikipedia as an English singer and occasional actor. He started his career at the age of 19 when he appeared in the film Buddy's Song, which featured his best-known single, which topped the UK singles charts for 5 weeks and reached the top 10 in the United States. He's back with a new album, Living Arrows, at the end of March, with a single and video for Get a Hold of Yourself that, it's fair to say, had the Sing When You're Winning WhatsApp group very animated. I think it's fair to say. You can catch him on tour somewhere near you in February and March. But for this Friday morning, we're delighted to have him here with us. So let's give a very warm Sing When You're Winning podcast welcome to the singular and uncomparable Chesney Hawkes.
Wow, thank you very much. That was an amazing intro, guys. Thank you.
I mean, the Wikipedia stuff had to be true. Let's be honest. Of course, there wasn't much risk there. To be fair, were you 19 when you're in Buddy's Song?
Yeah. No, that was when it was released. I was like 17 when we made it.
Wow.
So when I put my first single out, I was 19. Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
A wee whippersnapper.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And it did all right, didn't it? That single did all right.
It did all right. Yeah. I mean, not too bad. It wasn't too shabby.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
I forget myself, to be honest. Yeah. I'm glad it hasn't had a mention so far.
Yeah. We're going to see how long we can hold out by not mentioning those words.
I'm amazed. Me and Chris both had that on Jamie's bingo card as well. So
Totally.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, I was saying because Ches, you'd been on our podcast, the Gig Stories podcast, and I had battered Alex saying, just don't be cheap. Don't cheapen yourself by saying, the obvious, which you've heard daily since 1990. And I can't even.
It's like those who shall not be named, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Or Macbeth in a theatre.
Yeah.
And and I can't remember if he did or not. I think he might have done just because
he probably did. Yeah.
He just can't help himself. But well done, Jamie.
Well, we're so far, but let's be honest, we're only 7 minutes in.
I'm sure it'll get mentioned at some point. And
there is a question coming up in the homework bit where I might have to swerve it slightly. But let's have a look at Chesney's FPL stats to date. Thanks to Statman.
Have a drink right now.
Thanks to Statman Steve for this one. We say you finally joined the Sing When You're Winning group after 4 months of flirting with the SWYW committee, apparently. I don't know if you remember those 4 months, whether you were treated to anything nice to get you on board. But this is your second season in Sing When You're Winning and, of course, FPL as well. I think you joined FPL and Sing When You're Winning at the same time. These aren't my words, but apparently you started badly last season before making a late playoff push, finally finishing 13th and 6 points off the playoffs. And this year is apparently a disaster with an over-reliance on West Ham players proving costly. Not my words. Winning only 4 games so far this season, though you have beaten the top 2, which is pretty good.
I mean, how does that happen? I don't know.
Yeah, you're obviously that bogey team to play when people at the top. But recent squad changes might see a change in fortune in the second half of the season. You're currently 15 points from safety, though, although relegation wouldn't be too bad because it could mean a Hawks derby matches next season against your sons, Casey and Indy.
Yeah, so, I did see that. So, I mean, honestly, I think it's going to be hard to turn it around now, but Steve keeps telling me I need to do a wild card and just have it. But I used my wild card in the first couple of weeks, I think, of this season. I've just been a disaster. I have. I'm not sure I agree with the over-reliance of West Ham. Classically, I had the three West Ham players in there. I had Kilman from the beginning. I had Areola, which obviously was a disaster because he hasn't played this season at all. And of course Bowen, and you can't go wrong with Bowen, surely.
No,
you can't.
No, he's good. He's steady point.
Well, obviously not.
But now he's gone. Yeah, but now we've swapped him for Mbermo, haven't you? So
yeah,
that's an upgrade, really, isn't it?
Well, I don't know about that. He's my captain now. I could never say that. Jared's my man.
Like I say, pals with him as well, are you?
Well, I have met him. I
Oh.
interviewed him for TNT Sports, and that was he's a lovely man. He really is. And it was not long after he was named captain, so he was kind of like on a bit of a high, and he was just lovely. I brought all of my boys. My two boys came along, and my best mate Vic came along. we came en masse, and he couldn't have been nicer to all of us.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, legend. Sounds good. Talking of West Ham, we've got breaking news this Wednesday night, Friday morning. So West Ham have sacked their manager after just 6 months in charge, and by the time this is Friday morning, it's highly likely that Graham Potter will be there with him. First of all, the statement from the club wasn't particularly. I think it was pretty rubbish, to be fair.
No, it is poor, and I mean, listen, it hasn't been a season to brag about at all anyway. And obviously, a new manager, you want them to come in and at least, you know, have that bounce, that new manager bounce. I'm glad that that they've let him go. I think he wasn't the right appointment for us in the first place. And I'm actually quite excited about Graham Potter. Yeah. I mean, and I think he's got a point to prove now. You know, after Chelsea, and I think he's got the squad that I think could really do well. We've got great players. Obviously, we've got some injuries right now, but I really think that he is the right man for the job. It's like a young, hungry, English, tough manager. I think the West Ham fans are going to warm to him. I do. So I'm excited about this appointment. He's got a difficult time coming into the club right now, just because I think the morale is obviously like in the toilet, and we're looking at a relegation battle right now. But of course he's coming in without his captain, and there's a few unsettled players. It's going to be a difficult task to kind of just hit the ground running, I think, you know, and especially with, you know, players like Paquetá, who's just like, we don't really know where he's at. And Kudus, everyone's after Kudus. You know, he's our probably best player after Bowen.
Yeah.
So who knows? I would say a difficult task for him right now, but I think he is the man for the job. And I do hope that. Well, we'll see how it goes, you know, over the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Well, you say it's a difficult task, but equally, he could a couple of wins in the next month or two, and he could suddenly turn it around quite quickly as well. There's a lot of rubbish down there, and West Ham have got the squad, like you said, so just need somebody to get them playing, really.
Do you know if he's going to be getting any money for January? Or
Sullivan apparently has made a statement to say that we do have some money for the transfer window in January, and I think we're definitely going to go into the market. I mean, if we don't, something's terribly wrong. So I think
so West Ham aren't, you know, caught in the same kind of bind as the likes of Newcastle, for example, who need to sell, for example.
Yeah, I don't know about if we're going to. I mean, we are going to sell. I think there's going to be players going out, and there are definitely dead wood there that needs to go, and some players that are unsettled, for sure. And it would not surprise me. I'm not sure in January, maybe more in the summer, but if some of the big players go, I know there's a lot of interest in Kudus, and I think Paquetá has said that he wants to go back to Brazil at some point. So. We'll see. But we're definitely in the market for a striker. West Ham can't seem to buy strikers. We just don't know how to do it. Right? We've had so many, you know, just come in, not work out, and off they go. It's just, I don't know what it is about us with forwards, centre forwards, but you know, with Skamaka before, and there was so many. It's like, it's ridiculous, you know. And
they nearly got Duran in, didn't they? And then they.
I mean, why we didn't buy Duran at that point? Apparently, we could have had him for a really good price. It was like 40 million. I was so annoyed. And then we ended up with the big German, who scored actually the other day.
Yeah, he did. He did. I thought he was going to do wonders, to be honest with you. I thought he'd do really well at West Ham. I thought he'd be banging him in, but
I mean, he does seem to be the kind of player that West Ham that would do well at West Ham. You know, he's quite tough. He's got that kind of I don't know, that West Ham, big forward. Like I feel like he could hold the ball like Antonio, but he got injured straight away. I think he's been unlucky so far. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens next. But I think West Ham will be all right, and if he manages to calm things down to the end of the season and then have a good go next season, I think things are on the up for West Ham, I would say.
Yeah, I think a good fit there because do they get the biggest crowds? They get bigger crowds than Tottenham, don't they, West Ham?
Of course they bloody do.
Which is strange though to me because it sort of in the 90s or whatever, Leeds, West Ham, Tottenham, Everton all got the same sort of crowds really, 35,000 or something like that.
We do have a massive stadium though, so
yeah, because we talk now about Leeds extending the stadium to 55 and you get a load of Leeds fans go, we'll never fill 55. How are we going to do that? But then if you look at West Ham and Tottenham, they're filling 75,000, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the 3 years we were in Europe recently helped with that, and it had kind of coincided when we came from the bowling ground, and when we started having those European nights, and I went to a few. It was an unbelievable atmosphere, and I think that has helped to fill. And we do have an incredible fan base. We really do. So I'm not surprised.
Do you get a lot of the tourist fans there?
I mean, not so much because West Ham's not that kind of club. It's not the Manchester United, your Liverpool, even the Tottenham, isn't it? We've never been thought of as the big six. So I don't, I'm sure there are some tourist fans, but I don't think it's going to be like it is for those clubs that have that kind of, worldwide appeal.
It's all we seem to see at Anfield and Old Trafford now, isn't it? It's all foreign fans.
The roaring trade in
half and half scarves.
Yeah. Did you see, talking about like big clubs, did you see that there's a possibility of Elon Musk coming in for Liverpool?
Yeah.
No, was it not his dad?
It was his.
His dad said it. Yeah.
Oh, his dad said it. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
oh God!
I don't think that'll ever
Can
be.
we just not?
Will it? It'll never be allowed to happen, will it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
No.
He must be joking.
Oh, God. Come on, move on.
Do you want that as the title of this week's pod? Is that what you're
joking?
Right. On that then, Steve, do you want to give us some scores from the week?
I can.
Game week 20.
Right.
We'll
start in the Premier League then, which is a long way from where you are, Ches.
Mm-hmm.
Top scorer there came at the bottom of the table. John Gregory got a 91 to beat Faris, who would have got a 54.
Wow.
Also with a 91 at the bottom, Michelle Gale won again. She beat Neil Martin, who was one of the contenders at the top. He got an 82, so he was unlucky. And Adam Devlin also at the bottom got an 85 to beat you, Chris, who got a miserable 55 this week.
Diabolical.
At the top there, the Summerton Blues continued as he lost to Chris Dawkes 76-55, and Richard Archer beat Rick Witter by 2 points 75-73. League table wise, Mark Summerton's still top 45. Ed Chester's now only 3 behind 42. Tom Roberts 39 and Paul Chambers-Tonner 39. At the bottom, Nikolai Costa-Waldau is now dropping in there. He's got 24 points. Michelle Gale finally out of the relegation zone, 21 points. Dan Stewart has now dropped into so he'll be glad he's not on the pod today because he'd be fuming about that. 20 points. Faris Badwan, 18 points. And John, despite his win, is bottom with 15 points. Championship, Jamie, your favourites. The joint high in the league there was a 94 from Alistair Griffin, who beat Jim Daly, who is top. He got his 57. Ross finished his run of 7 straight defeats. He beat Henry 91-88.
Wow.
Very tight one there. A 91 also for Phil Pinder. He beat Carl, who got 80. Lee, you beat Tim Ward. Jamie, you beat Stu Dunn. Jonas at the bottom beat Rich in his bottom 3 clash there. And Nicola, my wife, beat Mark Morris by 1 point, despite Mark sending her a message on the morning of the match to say, I've played my triple captain, that'll show you.
Brilliant.
League table wise there, Jim's top 45. Second is Henry with 40. The playoffs are Stu Dunn 39, Andrew Clancy 36, Carl Sewell 36, Cole Jenkins 36, and just outside the playoffs, Phil Pinder on 36. Also at the bottom, Joe Derrick's dropped down now, fourth from bottom, 23 points. And the relegation zone is Jonas with 21 points, Rich Lay with 19, and Graham Swan is now bottom with 18 points, despite a few transfers he's been making lately. League One. Listen up, Ches.
I'm listening. How many Duns are there in this league, by the way?
Not all relatives, actually. Some's just a bit of a coincidence.
Okay. So there are more Hawks than Duns, or is there more Duns than Hawks?
Same, actually, 3.
Oh, okay, good. Right.
Unless your wife wants to join, Ches.
She is right here, actually. Don't even. There she is.
Hello. Does she like football?
She does. She does like football, but I'm not sure. I mean, she would probably come in and she's not going to be hard to beat me.
Definitely not. No. Is she holding up cards for you to say stuff?
No, she just because we had a little drink before, so she just doesn't.
No, topping you up, excellent.
She is
topping me up here, and yeah.
Anyway, this is interrupting the results service, so you don't get this on Sky.
You should get this on Sky. It'd be better.
Maybe, yeah. Craig Wilson got the other joint league high score with a 94. He beat Alex Renter with an 88. Ben Hope got a 91 to beat the runaway leader there, Jamie Hurst, who only got 64. Lee and Rich Pipes both won to close the gap in that one. On to you, Chesney. You played Andy Cousins, who was also in the relegation zone, and lost 68-73. Little unlucky.
That's been my season so far.
And Steve Wybrant got a good win for his promotion push. He beat Tim Bresnan 74-59. League table-wise, Jamie Hurst has got 45. Rich Pipes is second, 37. The playoff places, Lee Nicholson, 36. Anton Witter, 36. Alex Renton, 34. And Gareth Young's 33. At the bottom, Mike Bushell, just outside the relegation. He's the one you need to catch, Ches. 27 points, Mike Bushell. I mean, that's doable with Mike.
Yeah, definitely.
He's definitely been punching. He's normally bottom.
He is normally bottom.
Andy Cousins, 26. Ben Taylor, 21. Nathan Clark, 16. And rock bottom, Chesney Hawkes, 12 points.
Jesus.
Now,
that was hard.
I reckon you need 45 points to stay up, so that means you're going to need to win 11 of your next 18 games.
I think I'm going to play my wild card this week. But I might take some advice from you boys on that one. I thought my team's pretty good, to be honest. But
actually, I looked at your team, but it's not actually that bad now. With a little bit of fine tuning, it's there. I think
a little bit of tweaking. Yeah. There's some things I want to get rid. I want to get rid of Kilman, I think.
Well, that'll get rid of all your West Ham, won't
it? Yeah, it will actually. Yeah, actually will. Look at that. I'm just looking at it now. I've got no other West Ham but Kilman. But why have I got just Kilman? That's crazy.
Do they keep a lot of clean sheets? Conference League then. Conference League. Sophie Ridge, 89 points, beat Alfie Witter, 62. Paul Tonkinson, 86, beat Finn Dunn, 74. Top of the table, Pete Martini beat Casey Hawkes, 74-52. Adam Constive is struggling. He beat Indiana Hawks, 84-70. Bad week for the Hawks.
Hawks clean sweep.
In the automatics there, Grace Maloney and Ben Halliwell both lost, which meant Vicky Sparks and Natalie Pike, who beat Neil Robertson, who had won 7 games before that, they all closed the gap. So at the top, Pete Martini's clear again, 45 points. Grace Maloney, 40. Ben Halliwell, 40. Playoffs, Neil Robertson, 39. Natalie Pike, 38. Sophie Ridge, 38. Vicky Sparks, 37. Duke Witter, 36. And the bottom 3, Becky Bass, 19, Paul Tonkinson, 15, and last week's guest, Chris Murray, with 9. He's got less points than you, Ches.
Yeah. Wow.
Did he lose again then, Chris Murray?
He did, yeah. Oh. He did all right, but he lost.
Yeah, he's getting better. Cool. Well, let's have a look ahead to midweek next week, because we've got the FA Cup third round, but that next game week 21 is Tuesday to Thursday next week. I think all the games are on TNT as well.
Are they?
Nice.
I think they're all there. So this time next week, we'll probably be recording while someone's watching the games live from the ground. That could happen. But we're going to kick off with West Ham, Fulham, Tuesday night. Chesney, what do you think? West Ham, Fulham, Tuesday night.
Fulham obviously starting to play well. It could be Graham Potter's first game in charge. So I feel like we might have a bit of a managerial bounce there. All the players are going to want to play for him. It's kind of like a bit of a must win for us against similar foe, another London team. I'm going to go. I think we're going to play well. 3-1 to West Ham.
3-1. Bold prediction. Anyone else think West Ham will win, or do we think Fulham will get a result?
No, I think 3-0, 3-0, and I think Fulkrug's going to get a hat trick. I think Potter's going to put him straight in and just score goals, and he's going to do it.
Well, I think they could do well as well. I'm struggling. I think the problem with not having Haaland in my team is that I've spread it around so much that I never know who to put on the bench. And at the moment, I've got my 2 Fulham players on the bench, but I don't know who. It's just a struggle. I quite liked it when your hands were tied. You had to have Haaland, and then you had 3 absolute shit kickers on the bench that you knew were not even going to play, and then that was it. It's just about your who you've bought.
Do we not think that Haaland is a bit of a necessity again now? Do you think he's? I feel like he's coming back into form.
I think if he was 12 million, but the fact that he's still best part of 15. Yeah. I think it's
not worth
unless you're doing a wild card or if you've got 5 transfers in the bank. Then
I've got him in my team and he scored twice last week and I still lost.
Yeah, but means that's partly because you've got a whole load of shit kickers on your bench.
I wouldn't go back to Haaland now.
No,
not me either.
No way.
So.
No, the temptation is real for me to just wildcard and get rid, and you can have a nice team without him, can't you?
But you wouldn't have a wild card though, would you? You'd just take him out, and then you've got
so much money.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
they've got some shit kickers to get rid of as well. So
the alternatives are there's so many great players that can do what he's doing or what you think he can do. You know, with Palmer and I guess I was going to say Saka there, but Salah, of course. You know,
I've got them as well though.
If you've got Haaland, Palmer and
Salah, yeah.
Jesus Christ! Who else? No wonder you've got a bunch of shit kickers.
I'm comfortable in mid-table obscurity in the Premier League, thank you.
I don't know why. I don't know how I can talk. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Love it. Right, let's look at Forest Liverpool also on Tuesday night. That's looking like a very interesting tie. I'm gonna say that I think Forest will do them. I think they'll get the double. Forest seem to be on a roll at the moment. Well organised, keeper in form. I have a weird feeling it could be like a 1-0 or 2-1, something like that. Liverpool have a bad night.
Yeah, I said to my father-in-law, he's a Derby County fan, and normally the pub near him shut on a Monday night, but they opened it especially, so it's full of Forest fans, few Derby fans. And I said to him, this is the match for me that will either prove that Forest are justifiably where they are, and it's not just luck, or Wolves are justifiably where they are, and they're not just having a bad form. And can't say that Forest. Wolves missed a couple of good chances, but I thought Forest were just they just play such simple, good football,
exciting football as well.
Yeah,
they're very forward. It was an exciting game the other day.
Yeah, even if Wood got injured, I don't think they'd struggle. I still don't think they'd struggle. I think they've got really, really good strong team. He'll hate me for saying that, but they're good for the place at the minute.
Well, it says something about a team that I think you're right that they're very gelled as a team, aren't they? And one player like Wood, who's obviously scoring a lot at the moment, but without him, I think they probably would still do well. I think there's going to be a lot of goals in that game.
Especially if Trent plays the way he played. Oh my God.
He's so good.
Yeah,
he was dreadful, wasn't it?
He was awful. He was so bad. But the thing is, I don't think it's a decline or a dip or whatever. It's just, I think it was a typical Man United Liverpool game. Yeah. And most most Liverpool players in that game had a good game. I mean, Gakpo was great. McAllister's looking like one of the most indispensable players in the Liverpool squad. And I think Liverpool, especially having been beaten by Forest earlier in the season, the only loss that Liverpool have had, I think that's going to be smarting a bit. And I think, I think Liverpool could do them. It won't be a battering, but I think they could do them.
I could easily do it for sure. Yeah. It's also like what you were saying, Lee, about Forest and whether they're kind of like worthy of where they are, if it's just fluke. It is also a moment for Liverpool to prove that they are actually, going to do it. If they are champions. So if they win this, I think it's kind of odds on, isn't it? At that point,
I think so.
It's a little like Leicester all over again, isn't it? I remember that year, they were playing Man City, and everyone's going, "Oh, they won't beat Man City," and then they'd beat Man City, and then they're going to beat Arsenal or somebody.
And also, as a Liverpool fan, there's something about our most recent Premier League win, as in winning the Premier League. I don't know if there's a little asterisk in it. The fact that there weren't any crowds in the ground. Can they do it with full stadia and all that kind of stuff? I mean, I know that you still have to play 90 minutes of football and beat the team that's in front of you, but I don't know if that maybe Slot has maybe had a bit of a Brian Clough moment, saying, put your Premier League medals in the bin. You did them without a crowd. Let's do it with full stadia. I don't know. I think there's too much at stake for them to be complacent about Forest. Definitely.
Yeah. Should be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking as a neutral.
I think it's going to be as a neutral. It's going to be an amazing game. What an incredible first season he's had, Slot. It's pretty incredible, really, isn't it? To come into to follow someone like Klopp and just come in and get them playing like they have. It's pretty amazing, really, isn't it? Because normally there is a little bit of kind of settling in, and players kind of not playing for you because they had a different kind of regime, and I don't know. He seems to just come straight in, and it's incredible, really.
Well, I'm looking forward to when he signs someone, because I don't think he's signed anyone yet.
That's right. That's right.
He inherited almost a perfect squad, didn't he?
Yeah.
But like you said, it's the way he's got them playing. Playing the three at the front, like Gakpo and consistency they're getting.
Yeah.
Gakpo, when he first signed for Liverpool, there was a bit. He didn't seem to start too well. He wasn't carrying his Euros and like his international form into it, but he's doing that now.
Oh, he definitely's got him playing for sure. Yeah.
And Leeds wanted Arne Slot as manager when we sacked Jesse Marsh as well, and he said no thanks.
He knew what he was doing. Obviously, he was waiting around for the big job. But the third game. It's quite an interesting midweek next week that TNT have got. But Arsenal Spurs Wednesday night. What do we think, Lee? What do we think?
I know like Ange talks about the injuries and everything that Spurs have got, which they have, and Arsenal are missing Saka so much. I think I'm going to go 4-3 to Arsenal. I think it's just going to be. I think it's going to be a crazy game. Tottenham can't keep a clean sheet for shit, to be honest with you.
No,
absolutely. Archie Gray. Thank you, Leeds. Archie Gray has been outstanding. Playing the young lad in defence though could ruin his life. Could ruin his career playing in the Tottenham defence. But he's an outstanding player. I didn't know. I said at the start of the season I didn't know too much about him, but I've learned a hell of a lot of what an outstanding young talent he is.
18, 19-year-old, and he's a midfielder really, and he's playing centre back for you. He played right back all season for us.
Yeah,
he's going to be a great player when he gets a bit older.
Yeah,
amazing.
So you're thinking 4-3 to the Arsenal. I'm going to go 3-2 to Spurs.
Ooh.
I think it could be Ange. Arsenal are playing some average stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
They're playing some. I mean, last night against Newcastle.
What balls are they using? They're not going to be
Yeah,
using
it depends what
Paramount
balls they're
balls,
using.
are
If they're
they?
using those AFL balls, then obviously Arsenal aren't going to do well at all. They forgot the fact that Arsenal have scored loads of goals already in the same competition using the AFL. It was just last night that they were causing them problems. But anyway, anyone else? Arsenal Spurs before we move on.
I'm going to say 2-0 Arsenal.
2-0.
Just because I say 4-3 every week for Spurs, so I'm switch it up.
Someone else.
I'm such but my best mate is a Tottenham fan, and being a West Ham fan, everyone hates Arsenal, So I'm going to go Spurs 2-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Could we love you any more, Chesney? There you go.
5-0. I always say that.
5-0. Let's go for an American Tail.
10-goal thriller.
Yeah.
We call 5-0 a Mouskevich in this house, thanks to an American Tail. No one's watching American Tail late 80s cartoon.
No.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that the one? Is it with 5-0? Is it?
5-0 Mouskevich. So if it's ever 5-0 in the darts, we go it's a Mouskevich. Anyway, there we go. Just in this house. Let's move swiftly on. So, Chesney, we'll have a bit more of a chat with you now. So we ask everybody who comes on the pod about their club, but why West Ham?
I was brought up very much west of London, so it does seem a bit of an odd choice. My dad was a QPR fan, but he wasn't one of those, mentalists like us lot that follow everything. He never took me and my brother to games.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a family friend, Roger Crouch, shout out to Roger Crouch, who was a West Ham season ticket holder. Mm-hmm. And he took me and my bro to a couple of games. Our first game was Spurs away at White Hart Lane, and we lost 4-0. This would have been 82 maybe, 81, 82, something like that. And we lost 4-0. And obviously we were in the West Ham end, and all of the fans were doing the okey cokey up and down the aisle. I was like, yep, these are my people. And we had such fun, and it was just, I'd never heard swearing like it, all that kind of stuff. And I just, you can't, once you've chosen your team, that's it, isn't it? I mean, there's no turning back on that. You can change everything in your life, can't you? You can change your wife. You can change your sex. You could change everything. You can't change your football team. It's just not cricket. So, and I, me and my bro fell in love with West Ham early doors, and we, all the way through, early to mid 80s, we went home and away. Our favourite season was like Cotty McAvenny season. 85, 86, I think that was, wasn't it? Where we ended up third. Just missed out actually on potentially winning the league, like doing a Leicester, and we went home and away that season to every single game, all the FA Cup games, all the FA Cup replays. Cool. It was an obsession, and so that's why I'm West Ham, and I still absolutely like till I die, Hammers, absolutely.
Awesome. And what are your highs and lows of supporting them then? You've mentioned a few highs there, but what's your highest of high, and then what's your lowest of low?
Well, lowest are the relegations, I think we went down to 2002, was it? 2002 we went down. That was a harsh one because it was that year I think we had like 42 points, was it? And so it's the most amount of points I think that a Premiership team ever been relegated, if I'm right. And we had an amazing team as well. So those are lows. And I remember even back in the 80s, we went down. I can't remember, was it 88? I think we went down. Anyway, I'm going to be misquoted there. But high has to be the Conference League final in Prague, of course.
Yeah, of course.
The greatest Wednesday of all time. well, I would say, I say the greatest Wednesday ever, but really it was the best day ever. And I've got 3 kids, and my wife's
And your wife's in the room.
You're a brave man.
Boy, she's left us. She's gone there.
You're not even saying in the top. I always say about my favorite game ever. I say something in my top 3 things of all time, just to cover all this.
But it really was the best day ever because we played the fan zone. So me and my band, and I had my boy Indy with me. I got my brother who's West Ham as well, my best mate Vic who was with me, and 30,000 people, a sea of claret and blue in Prague there at the fan zone. It was bubbles everywhere and confetti, and just like we brought out all the classics. We did a bit of Bubbles, we did West Ham are Massive, and I even did it because it was just before Declan Rice left, and he was our captain at the time. And so I even did a version of "Please Don't Go," and it was just the most unbelievable gig of all time for us, And then we went directly from there. And there were West Ham legends there, like Ludo was there, Steve Bishop was there, and it was Ian Bishop was there, and like there was a bunch of other West Ham faithful from years gone by. And then we went directly from the fan zone to the stadium. Of course, need I say more? Just for me, I've never seen West Ham win anything, not in my lifetime. I just missed out on the 1980 FA Cup final. I was a bit too young for that, but yeah. So that's my highs and lows.
Excellent. No, you can't beat your team winning anything, can you? And for some of us, it doesn't happen at all, if ever. Like it might happen once in your life, kind of thing. It's extra special when it does happen. Great.
No, exactly. It's like when for me, I've never seen West Ham win anything. We've come close here and there. I was at the 2006 FA Cup final, and Steven Gerrard broke my heart that day. It's like for me, following a team like West Ham, or Leeds, or Middlesbrough, whatever. You get those moments now and again where you go on a really good cup run, or for some crazy reason you're just gelling, and you have a run of in the league that just kind of takes you somewhere. And I prefer that. It's like when Indy, my boy, started with his West Ham journey. It was like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. We were in Europe. We finished 6th, and I was like, mate, this is not how it is normally. I was like, get used to. Hanky just got topped up. Cheers, lads. So I try to explain to my boys, like, it's not always like that, and now they know.
Yeah, and just like hell they know this season.
Do they know
what
this season?
Feels like.
Yeah.
Right, cheers, Chesney. We've got some questions. We ask everyone to do their homework on this podcast, and we have questions for our guest. I'm going to kick off. First question, just roll with it. Bit of a random question. What's your signature dish in the kitchen?
Oh, that's a good one. It always used to be pasta bake.
What type of pasta bake?
With courgettes.
Oh, gosh, pasta.
But I was on MasterChef.
Oh.
And I did get very good comments from
Greg Wallace.
Yeah, from Greg and from John for my fish stew.
Oh.
Not that I've done it since. And Greg Wallace liked my donuts. I'm saying no more. Moving on.
Get that on a t-shirt.
Maybe that's the title of this week's. Greg Wallace liked my donut.
Brilliant. How did you get on Celebrity MasterChef?
I was a semi-finalist. Me and Rylan, and Kimberly from the Pussycat Dolls were in the semi-final, and then I got knocked out because my Bakewell tart was undercooked.
Soggy bottom.
It's always the tarts, isn't it, boys?
Plenty of custard, it'd have been fine.
Just pour some custard in.
It's all soggy, isn't it? Great stuff. Thank you. Final question from me. When I was in year 8 at school, me and my mate Andrew McFarlane created a parody version of one of your songs called I Am a Shetland Pony. What's the best or worst parody you've ever had of one of your songs?
Well, first of all, can we please hear it? Can you edit this?
It literally went as you'd imagine it sounded in your head.
Well,
It
it's
just
in my
went-
head, yeah.
It went,
well,
I
really
am
good.
a Shetland pony. That's essentially how it went.
Wow.
I can't believe when I was singing that age 12 that I'd be singing that to you. However,
Oh,
30
amazing.
that is so great.
That is really
Yeah.
good, actually.
Have you ever had any parodies of any songs? Notice I've not mentioned the title of said song yet.
No, well done. There was a parody called "I Am the Blonde and Moly."
Who did that?
I don't know. It's just some
You just
some
heard
band.
it,
You know.
right.
You know what's funny about like it's not just parodies. It's like other versions of it. You know, and
Mm.
there are quite a few like death metal versions. So if you go on YouTube
Yeah.
and put in death metal one and only, it's quite
Yeah, I
it
can
works.
imagine that, yeah.
It actually works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite good. And yes, I mean, over the years I've played it at sound checks, and sometimes at gigs, different kind of styles and genres, and like I've done it reggae, country. I've done a little bit of death metal myself, or proper rock and roll.
Yeah.
I think it'd work quite well as a kind of, when Mike Flowers Pops did Wonderwall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Right, proper lounge core.
I always hoped that Mike Flowers might have done that actually, but I don't think he ever did.
No,
But I guess that's the sign of a good song, right? You can do it in different versions, different
Yeah.
genres, different styles. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
but I
not
think I'd be
many
gutted
songs.
if I came to your gig and you sung it in a different way. I'd be thinking, "Oh, I've come all this way for this."
Yeah, no, that is true, and I have done that in the past and had complaints where I started doing it because there's if you go on Spotify or whatever, there's a piano version, like a piano ballad version that I did that I really love, and it really shows the song for the emotion of the song comes out. This for some reason you hear it in a completely different way because it's very stripped back and emotive, and so I started doing it like that for a little bit, but then I had a couple of people say, no, you really need to engage the drummer.
I went to see Tom Jones a few years ago at the race course on one of those gigs after the races. So there was like 30,000 pissed up racegoers there to see Tom Jones, and he did Delilah and the Green Grass of Home and all his other hits in a reggae style.
Really?
Yeah, and everyone's like, "What?"
Are you sure? Are you sure you just haven't had a few too many?
No,
I
it
was
was
gonna say, was
definitely.
that
I'm
just like some extracurricular stuff going on in your head?
No,
I can't
it was
imagine Tom
definitely-
Jones doing reggae.
I mean, it was an evening gig, so I'd not had too many.
You were kind of doing all right. But yeah, I once saw Tim Booth, James Murder sit down just to piss everyone off. He did it on purpose.
Doesn't surprise me
Because
at
people
all.
were shouting, "Clear, sit down." So he did it spoken word.
Oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
wow.
He literally went, "I sing myself to sleep, a song from the darkest hour," and everyone was getting really angry. I was like,
Which famously was kept off #1 by a certain Chesney Hawkes.
Yeah, exactly. I have a history
Yeah.
with James.
Really?
Yeah, because that's a song that I feel deserved to be #1. Sit down. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if you asked anyone in the street if it was #1, most people would say, yeah, of course, that's a #1 record. But it was just bad timing for them. It was literally, I think it was #2 for. I was #1 for 5 weeks, and I think it was #2 for 4 of those weeks.
Yeah.
wow, okay.
And that was
Yeah.
a reissue as well. I think they'd released it a couple of times before that. Because there's
Oh,
one
was it?
version that they released, and he starts singing Lester Piggott over the chorus at one point. Yeah, it's a bit older than when it got to #2. It was out a
Right.
couple of times. But
I think a lot of hits though from the 80s and 90s. If you hear them a lot on the radio now, you think, "Oh, that must have been #1 or #2," and then you see
Yeah.
Top of the Pops reruns, and it was like 18 in the charts or something. And you think, "Oh, wow."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
What
it's
does Top of
true.
the Pops like to do, Chesney?
It was a little bit of a disappointment because I grew up in the 80s, so Top of the Pops was everything, and I was very much kind of like a music consumer, and I bought every single #1 single. I've still got my old vinyls, in the attic somewhere. And then so Top of the Pops was like an absolute pilgrimage every week.
Yeah.
And when I first got onto Top of the Pops, it was a massive thing. My brother was my drummer as well, so it was like, yeah, this is going to be amazing, And we got there, and for a start, it's kind of a small room. It looks like, if you remember the old days of Top of the Pops, it looked like a massive room, like a big old party, and everyone's going crazy. It really wasn't that at all. Like the crowd was kind of like the BBC runners and stuff, and they kind of crowded them into a small area to make it look like a big crowd. And I remember being really kind of like disappointed, And at that point, I was like going from TV thing to radio things, and it was like being in the eye of a storm. And we turned up at the Top of the Pops, did it, and it all seemed a bit kind of small and weird. And then I was off to something else, and I was like, oh, there you go. That was that then.
Shame.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the gravitas of saying that you've done Top of the Pops was good enough, I guess. But I don't know why, I just expected it, or felt like I wanted it to be more of an experience, And I've heard other people say the same thing about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. But you were #1 for 5 weeks on that show, which not many people can say, which is very good.
No, I guess not.
Very good. Right, who else has done their homework then? Who's got a question? Well, you'll all have questions for Chesney. Who wants to go next?
Go on, I'll go next. I've got 2 really quick ones. First of all, how are you and your wife settling back into the UK? And the other one is, what's the most obscure request to use any of your songs? Because obviously it's been in films. Your most famous song been in films like Doc Hollywood and stuff like that. So what's the most obscure request for use of one of your songs?
Okay, so yes, I've just for those that don't know who are listening, I've just moved back from America, where I was in LA for 12 years, and it's been a huge move. We moved back in July. Wife, 3 kids, 2 dogs, cat, and a studio. So if you can imagine, it's been quite a year, and we still have boxes everywhere, but we're starting to settle back into life here, and I feel so much more grounded here in the UK. It's definitely home. I never really felt like America was home, and by the looks of it over there, we've moved at the right time. Yeah, exactly. Your second question, there's been so many usages of that song over the years, and some are great, and some are kind of like just hidden. But I think my favorite one is the fact that Duncan Jones, who is David Bowie's son, he used it in a song called Moon, which was his first film, and used it very cleverly. If you haven't seen the film, it's kind of Groundhog Day in space, basically. Okay. And so it's the one and only ends up being his kind of alarm clock every day.
Sam Rockwell, isn't it?
Sam Rockwell, who's an absolute genius, actor, and I absolutely love him. But so I didn't know Duncan at that point, and Duncan and I became friends on Twitter after that, because the film actually ended up becoming like a cult classic. And it was really, really very successful film in the end. It's a great sci-fi film. If any of you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's really good. Yeah, it's a great film. And so we became friends on Twitter because people started suggesting that they sell merchandise like an alarm clock that is, one and only preloaded and stuff like that. And Duncan and I started talking, on DMs on Twitter, and then we got to know each other. And then he called me at one point. He said, I'm doing this next film with Jake Gyllenhaal called Source Code. And I'm trying to get clearance for the one and only, because I want to use it again, because it's now my lucky rabbit's foot. But it's like this, it's a big Hollywood studio, and they won't pay for it. Isn't it ridiculous? Because Moon was like an independent film that he did on his own. Yeah. So anyway, I said, it's okay. I'll re-record it for you and just do a little thing for it, because he wanted to use it as a ringtone for that film, which he did. Next one he did was World of Warcraft, because obviously now he's like Mr. Bigwig,
Yeah.
and he had a £400 million film to make, and he said, this time I want you to be in it, and I want you to play a medieval bard, and I want you to sing the one and only to the kids in a pub, in a medieval pub. I was like, I don't really understand what you mean. How do I do the one and only as a medieval song? And he said, well, I kind of like this, like, I am the one and only, nobody I'd rather be. So I'm like, okay, so Pirates of Penzance then. So I said to him, do me a favor, I'm going to hang up, call me back, leave a message on my voicemail with you singing it. And he, so that I know what you mean, and he said, as long as you don't use it, So he did it, and bless him, he called me up and he was like, I am the one and only, I'd rather be. So I sent him a text straight away saying, thanks for my new ringtone. So basically, I got my mate to play lute, and I did a version of it, and I went up, he flew me up to Toronto, as I like to say, and he dressed me up as a medieval bard, and there I am singing the one and only to a bunch of kids with like some kind of CGI dragon behind me or something. So there you go.
Way.
Yeah,
I have to watch that film. I have to hunt it out. Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Chris. Steve, who's got a question?
You go, Steve.
I've got some listeners' questions again. Actually,
listeners' questions are always good.
If I just have a rummage around, and I'll see if I can get a random one out. This one's from a Indiana Hawks.
Oh, never heard of him.
He's got several questions, but the first one is, what makes Indy your best child?
Oh my God! Can I plead the fifth on that one?
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Second one is, why are you so old?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And the third one is, how does it feel to have a hairline that looks like a McDonald's logo?
Did you really say that?
Kids.
What a little bastard.
Not the favourite now, is he?
Hang on a minute. I want all of my guitars back.
We've got another one from another Hawks, actually. This one's from Casey Hawks. It's not so bad. But oh no, there's a couple of some questions I've missed there. Are you as bad at football on the pitch as you are at fantasy football?
Oh, Jesus. This is just abuse from family members, isn't it?
This is a roast, an absolute roast.
Roast from my boys. I can answer that one, though. Yes.
Fair enough.
Also linked to that, he's got what's it like to be worse at fantasy football than both your sons?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Boys.
Cruel. What have you brought up, Chesney?
Oh, God.
And we'll go with this one. This one might be interesting. I don't know. What's something you've been arrested for?
No.
Should have been arrested for.
Something I should have been arrested for.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I should say it. I mean, I can't believe my son asked me that question. that is well. Can I speak to him, just man to man? Casey, I'll come and talk to you at bedtime. And I will tell you everything.
That sounds sinister.
Mind you, his bedtime's like 4 a.m. now. When you're three, what am I talking about? Bedtime. It's like I'm talking to a 9-year-old. Oh dear.
Great stuff, Chris.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your team basically, and I just want to know why. Basically, what is the thought process that you put into picking a team? I know you maybe start off with a spine of West Ham and then populate it with other players. But I'm just looking at some players you've got in. Taylor from Southampton and Chilwell. You've persevered with, I think, or was he a recent signing? No, you've persevered with Chilwell. Yeah, just wondering why, essentially.
It's a good question. Fair question. I remember getting advice from. Do you guys know Statman Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Oh, we
course.
know him.
He's
We
not.
don't know
He's
him.
not in this group though, is he?
No.
I know Ali
No.
is. I know
Yeah,
Ali is.
yeah,
So I've done that. I've done their podcast a couple of times now, so this team really is kind of. I've got these words ringing in my ear from Dave, which was expensive goalkeeper, cheap defense, expensive midfield, and cheap strikers. So I know that's not quite true with with what I've got going on here, although it is actually, because I've got Wood, I got Strand Larsen, Wood, and Gakpo out front, and so I've got Palmer and Salah. I mean, they're my expensive midfielders, right? And I put Bruno in there and Mbeumo. I mean, that feels like a good midfield to me.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But
I mean, you have really taken the cheap defense to the next level, though.
Yeah.
haven't
You need decent defenders.
And
You do.
Chilwell's not that cheap, is he? You can get some decent in for that sort of price. 4.7, I think he is.
No, listen. You are absolutely 100% right. I've got Dunk in there as well, and I've got Pedro Porro. I think I would probably keep him. But if I was gonna start again here, I would get rid of Taylor, Kilman, Chilwell, Dunk, and just start. And just start again. I don't know. I think I'm very much kind of like this year anyway. I've been quite loyal and stuck to it. Stuck to these players, and it has not served me well at all.
No.
Yeah, but
I think his advice was quite good. His advice was quite good because I would. Yeah. I think I started the season with a Trent and Gabriel and Porro as well, and then they weren't getting clean sheets. So then I ditched all them for cheap defenders and really your midfielders are who you get your points from. So that's, you do want strong midfield.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it like? Shouldn't it be like midfielders that score goals are your point scorers, right?
Yeah, totally,
yeah.
And you've got that covered with Mbeumo, Salah, and Palmer. You're not getting much better than that, really.
No, exactly. I mean, maybe Bruno could go, but I quite
get
like
Elanga in. He's cheap as chips.
Elanga's a good one.
Since I signed him, I've won 3 out of my last 4.
And you've got Mitoma, but he's on the bench, isn't he? So I don't know if he's really pulling up any
but he only got 1 point anyway, didn't he?
Yeah, he's not doing great this year, is he?
No, he's not. And I love Mitoma, actually. I think he's a great little player.
I wondered if you'd not got any Arsenal players because you're like Dan Stewart, you're a bit of a grudge manager, and he won't have any United players. But no, you've said earlier that Spurs is the kind of the more of the rivalry than Arsenal. So I'm wondering why you've got a Spurs player in and no Arsenal.
I've always liked Pedro Porro, actually, and so obviously he's my only Spurs player there. But no, I actually last year I did have a bit. I had Arsenal defense. I think I had. Now I can't remember, but it was mainly Arsenal defense last year. Saliba. Yeah. Anyway, I can't bloody remember now. But that actually did that. I think was probably good for me last year.
Yeah.
So who am I getting in then?
I would get an Arsenal defender in, whether it's a keeper or Gabriel or
maybe even a Forest defender's price wise. You get a Forest defender in, can't you?
Yeah,
and
I've got
Milenkovic. I think he's quite cheap.
I would swap out Strand Larsen for Isak.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. But isn't Strand Larsen quite a lot cheaper?
That'll be about 4 million price switch on that one.
I mean,
but it looks like you must have a bit in the bank.
I don't think so. Let me have a little look. I got 1.7.
Yeah, well, Chilwell down to somebody. Chilwell down.
Yeah, he's got to go. Yeah.
If you take someone like
Chilwell was good last season, wasn't he? So like he was in a lot of people's teams last year.
Yeah.
Mitoma's 6.4, and you can definitely
probably get Rodgers for 5.5. Can you? Rodgers and Enzo's about 5. Ahmad's 5.3 or something.
Yeah.
Ahmad is probably a good bet right now. He's putting them away for fun, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, just look in the bargain bucket and who's got the most points.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's probably Steve. I might have to take your advice on the wild card at this point.
Yeah, I think you should, because now there's that new manager chip thing that's coming as well, which when you play that means you can't play anything else for 3 weeks.
I know.
Then you're going to have weeks when you've got your triple captain, when there's double game weeks and bench boost.
Yeah. Have any of you guys played the management one?
No, it's not available yet, I don't think.
Oh, isn't it? So I didn't know that.
Good. One less thing.
Yeah,
to
to
worry
me,
about.
this management chip is like really strategic, and I think you have to be really, really into it because you've got to look so far. I really don't look too far into the future. I know I probably should, but
not really. I don't either.
I'm thinking about using it right at the end as a kind of Hail Mary pass when all else has failed and I've got 3 matches left. I just got, I'll sod it, and I'll choose somebody right at the bottom of the league who's scrapping, and try and get the points out of that. That's what I'm considering at the moment, because otherwise it just confuses me too much with everything else. Because if you're looking at the likes of getting Arne Slot in for the double game week, which is probably in like 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks, but then I would maybe want to triple captain Salah for that, because he'll be playing Bournemouth and Everton in that double game week. So but yeah, I don't know. I just find it a bit too confusing, and I'm just going to leave it.
It's one too many things, boys. It's hard.
Yeah, I don't think it. Then it didn't need it. Yeah. It's just a bit gimmicky, isn't it? And it just spoils the whole game.
And they've kind of thrown a spanner in the works by making it that you can't do any other wild cards or any tips. Sorry. In those 3 weeks.
But you've got a challenge on anyway, Chesney. So you've got.
I mean, my challenge is almost insurmountable anyway. So I may just play them all.
Maybe it'll be a cup side.
Yeah, the cup competition's starting soon.
That is one too many for me, boys, as well.
Well, you never know. You could win in the cup.
You put me out of the cup last season, Ches.
Yeah.
Rick Witter won the cup last year. That was a miracle in itself.
Yeah, unbelievable.
He was winning everything in 2024, though, wasn't he, Rick? To be fair, it was his year.
Yeah.
Let's play a game of Sing When You're Winning Super Fan. So, what's your footballing knowledge like, Chesney?
I mean, let's find out, I guess.
Yeah,
it might be quite good. I think
it's really only as good as what you know, isn't it? It's like I'm not a big quiz guy, so we'll see.
Okay, so each week we test our guests' footballing knowledge, see how many questions they can get correct in 90 seconds, and the highest score. There's a few people on 6, and the lowest score, to make sure that you're not at the bottom, is 2. So if you can score a minimum of 2, you'll be in good company. Anything above 6, and you will be top of the charts, as they say. So Steve, as ever, will be our official timer, and at the end of the 90 seconds, he will say something. Now, if he says the words that are banned this week, that'll be a bit disappointing. But I think he might.
I won't.
He might. The temptation's there. Who out of Lee or Chris, who wants to put the fingers in the air and be the official scorer?
I think Lee should do it, because we'll either get fireworks or
we'll get fireworks.
Who knows what we're going to get?
Exactly. So just so you know, we use ChatGPT for this. So sometimes they throw up some nonsense. But it's all part of the moderate entertainment that we talked about a little bit earlier on.
We don't want to exceed that. Come on.
No, there's no exceeding of that. I don't think we've exceeded it so far tonight. I think we're all right. I think the level's moderate.
The bar is low.
Yeah. We're all good. Excuse me. So the time will start when I ask the first question. If we get to 90 seconds and I'm mid-question, it's the classic I've started, so I'll finish.
Okay.
And so on. If we do come across a question that is absolute nonsense from ChatGPT, it'll be a mess, and we'll continue. Right. First question. Which player is known for scoring the fastest goal in an FA Cup final?
Good Johnson, maybe?
It was Louis Saha for Everton in the 2009 final. Damn. In 2006, the FA Cup final, who scored the equaliser for West Ham United against Liverpool?
Oh, that's really annoying if I don't know that one. Oh my God. Who scored the equaliser for West Ham in the 6.
Yeah.
FA
Yeah,
Cup.
we're on the clock here, Ches. There is a
Yeah,
pass
yeah.
option.
Ah, God damn.
Guess a West Ham striker.
Diddle-a-doo, boom. My wife's even giving me that, you know.
Does she know the answer?
Yeah, do you know the answer? Of course she bloody doesn't. Oh,
You
God.
Move along. You run
Yeah,
out of
move on. It was Dean Ashton. Who won the
Dean
Premier
Ashton.
League Manager of the Season award in 2011-2012? Famous Premier League manager.
Avram Grant.
Alex Ferguson. Which goalkeeper set the Premier League record for most consecutive clean sheets in the 2004-05 season?
Schmeichel?
It was Petr Cech. Which player scored the first Premier League goal of the 95-96 season?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Which player scored the first Premier League goal of the 95-96 season?
95-96. Oh,
Just say
no.
pass. Brian Dean. Which Premier League club did Sven-Goran Eriksson manage between 2007 and 2008?
I am a Shetland pony.
Brilliant.
I don't know, the Swedish national.
Sven-Goran Eriksson managed a Premier League club. Who was it? Middlesbrough infamously beat them 8-1. Well, infamously for me.
Was it Ipswich?
No, it was Manchester City.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do you want to know how many you scored?
No, I think I know. It's 0. It's big fat
It
0.
was sadly 0. It was, unfortunately.
I did
Okay.
warn you in advance that I'm not good
There's
at
too
quizzes.
much pondering
I don't
there,
know if you
wasn't
remember that.
There were, I think the pondering let you down. I think you
Yeah.
did have some stinkers in there, but there was some potential ones you could have got, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, possibly. Thanks for reminding me.
I think GPT did you then?
I think it did.
Yeah.
I thought the Dean Ashton one, I thought you were going to get, though.
I
I
should have
saw
got that.
it and I thought, oh, it's a West Ham question. We'll give him that nice and early to
Yeah.
get him one. So,
Should've got that
He's
one.
the kind of forward you need now.
yeah,
Dean Ashton
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah,
He was a belting player.
yeah, he was.
good stuff.
Yep.
Right, let's have an update on Bletchley Scott. You know all about Bletchley Scott, the team that we sponsor?
No.
No. Oh, well, as a collective, you must have missed that time on WhatsApp group. Basically, a number of us put some money in to sponsor Bletchley Scott, or an under 15 boys team, and it's done through our league sponsor, Carl from the Terrace. So yeah, essentially we're not wearing any of the football shirts tonight, are we? This thing when we're winning, but we sponsor their football shirts, and they play in a league in Milton Keynes, and they're back this Saturday. They're playing Linslade Galaxy. So all we're going to say to them is, "Come on, Bletchley!
Come on,
Bletchley.
And
Let's have
we'll
it.
see how they get on this. And you can follow at Bletchley Scott FC on Instagram for updates if you want to know what they're up to on Saturday. We'll talk about that next week.
Postponed frozen pitch.
It's highly likely postponed. They won the game before Christmas, so they're on a bit of a roll, shall we say, after their Christmas break. But we're going to wrap up this week's pod with a game of Shooting Stars. So did you used to read Match Magazine, Shoot Magazine when you were a kid?
I was not really. I wasn't really into magazines and stuff like that when I was a kid. No.
Yeah,
He was too busy on the front cover of Smash Hits, wasn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, trust me, I looked long and hard at Looking and Smash Hits to see if there was any evidence of these kinds of Q&A for you, but I couldn't find any.
That's just
So
standard.
I did try. But yeah, in the ad player profiles, essentially. So kind of quick fire questions of lots of different footballers in the late 80s and early 90s. So I'm going to ask you some of those questions. So quick fire. So just kind of think of the instant response on these questions. So first question is, what would you do if you could be invisible for a day?
God. It's so like obvious to go to the stuff that will get you cancelled. So
Don't go there. Don't go there.
let's just not go there. I have no friggin' idea, boys. Sorry, I'm out. I'm out on that one.
I love it. I have no friggin' idea, boys. That could be the title for this week's
We could
pod.
tell you the Steve Sutton.
Yeah.
What did Steve say?
Steve Sutton would sneak into a penthouse shoot.
Yeah, you'd sneak into a penthouse
Surely that'll
shooting the
get you
Playboy
cancelled
Mansion.
now. That'll get you cancelled.
Yeah.
Totally.
He said that in
They said it in 1984 or something. So
yeah, in a magazine widely read by young kids and early teens. But yeah, so that's what he went for. Who would you most like to meet and why?
Oh, can we go dead or alive?
Yeah,
I don't mean the band, but can I ask?
I mean, that
Yes,
would be.
you can meet them.
I did meet Pete Burns. He was a lovely fella. I'm going to go John Lennon.
Yeah, good one.
Is that so you can ask him about your piano?
Piano.
Yeah. Did you ever own a Broadway turn of the century baby grand piano? Yeah.
What, if anything, frightens you?
My wife. Especially when we're getting to the end of a podcast and she wants to have a drink.
Yeah. We're almost there. If you could be a fly on the wall, where would you most like to be?
That's a bit like the invisible
It is a
question,
bit
isn't
like
it?
the
I
one,
mean,
yeah,
it's like,
it is a bit. Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
get you to answer that one. Essentially,
I mean,
classic
you
journalist
know,
tact.
the first thing that comes to my mind is in the dressing room at West Ham, but not for what you're thinking, not for what it sounds like. You know,
Yeah.
I just kind of want to know what they're like, you know, when they're just together, the lads. You know, so like just to kind of like get a feeling of the camaraderie between the members of the squad. You know.
Yeah.
probably all on
Good
Instagram
answer.
and stuff, aren't there? It's probably something really disappointing now.
They'd all just be sitting there with their headphones.
Yeah,
on.
I know
Headphones
that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know.
Looking at
I know.
Instagram or something, and
Well, that's the disappointment part of
Yeah.
it, because the truth is when you meet these guys, like when I was at the 2022 World Cup, and I got to meet, you know, Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden, and like, you know, it was great. But when Jude Bellingham came down the stairs and I high-fived him, I was like, shit, he's 2 years younger than my eldest son, you know.
yeah,
It's just like a hell of a kind of a realization.
well, Jude Bellingham, how old's Jude Bellingham now? Is he like 19, 20 or something?
Yeah, 20.
So 4 years ago, when he was 16 and he was at Birmingham under 21s or whatever it was, played Leeds under 21s in the Youth FA final thing at Elland Road. Leeds won the game on penalties, and then after the game, you could sort of walk through the stands because there wasn't that many, maybe 10,000 there or something. And Jude Bellingham was in the stands with his mum and dad, and he was crying his eyes out because they'd lost. And my lad Finn, who's the same age as him, just went over and said, "Oh, well played, mate," and shook his hand, and he was like, "Oh, cheers." And then, you know, 4 years later, he's like playing for Real Madrid, and
The hero. Yeah.
God knows
yeah.
how much money a week.
Yeah. At least 100 grand in it. It's got to be.
and the rest.
Yeah, probably the rest with him. Yeah.
So a couple of quick questions, then we'll wrap up. If you were competing in Mastermind, what would your specialist subject be?
Well, I can tell you it wouldn't be football.
Sorry, I didn't set you up there, honest.
No, you didn't. Exactly. Probably Beatles, to be honest.
Beatles, good stuff. Who is your favorite cartoon character?
I'm going to go Danger Mouse.
Oh, solid.
Yeah.
Danger Mouse.
And the final question, what was the first car you bought and how much did it cost?
Ford Capri.
Please
No,
be comfortable.
I bought a Honda Civic and it cost me £175.
Yes.
And I got, you remember those old, the turtle air fresheners that used to put in them?
Yeah.
I put that on the front like it was a, you know, like the Rolls Royce emblem. And his name was Grandad.
Oh,
Excellent stuff.
Did he fall off?
Oh yeah, of course.
Every time. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Chesney, for joining us on this week's podcast. I know it's been a bit of a longer one, but thanks for sticking with us. And good luck for the season as well. The only way is up.
Well, I'm going to need the luck, boys. You know, I'm
Yeah,
going to take your advice and go for a wild card and think about starting again.
Well, we'll watch and see how you get on. As Steve mentioned, the cup run might be on for you. That could be the thing to.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe that's what I need to look at. Like, as you said, I'm the bogey team for the top guys, so
Yeah.
maybe a cup run is a good move.
Get that done. But don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at SWYW_FPL. It's changed, hasn't it? So it's
That is a mouthful and a
_FPL now.
half.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave us a comment, ask us an FPL question. We might even discuss it next week's show, where we'll be joined by another top guest. But thanks to Steve, Lee, and Chris. Thanks again to Chesney. And enjoy your footballing week. Keep on singing and keep on winning. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
goodbye.